All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to do one of those reacts videos, like I've been seeing doctors and lawyers reacting to videos of TV shows and movies where they present their profession. It's actually been a plan of mine to kind of put one of those together. A rabbi reacts to representations of rabbis or Judaism in television and film, particularly with the passing of Rabbi Moshe ben Harav Eliyahu, Zechron Levracha, Jackie Mason, who played Rabbi Hyman Krostofsky, who was nifter in Springfield a few years ago, saying meh, and reacting to some of those Simpsons episodes, which were actually, a lot of them were pretty accurate, especially the earlier ones. The later ones maybe not as much. But before I start with that, I have a Rabbi Reacts video of a YouTube video that someone actually took the time to sit down and edit. I don't have time to edit my videos. To go through my hundreds and hundreds of videos, maybe thousands of videos that I have over I guess 20 years now, that I've been posting videos since before it was YouTube, when it was still Google Video, and all my old Google videos are up here on my YouTube channel. And someone anonymously and cowardly put together a compilation of some videos of me, little old me. I don't know why I deserve the attention, but here we go. Let's react to the exposing clips of heretics. I told my boss, one of the comments on this video said that I deserve to be fired. And he said if he gets that call, he says, they already know I'm a heretic, and they already got the stake ready to burn me. The fire is burning already to throw me in there. Burn me at the stake as a heretic. So let's look through what Exposing Heretics has to say about Joe Kolakowski, the Koblenzer Rebbe. Let's go. Exposing clips of heretics. Let's see. Can we make this a little... There we go. Kolakowski spews nonsense nonstop. He also claims to love USA over Israel, much like the Jews in Germany before the Holocaust. Okay, this is a good one to start with. This guy is calling me a heretic. He's a Zionist, and Zionism is heresy. That goes without saying. And this nonsense that they said, about the Jews in Germany before the Holocaust, this and that. My holy Zeta, the Chavos Yair, who I'm proud to take that title of Koblenzer Rav from him, because nobody else has it. Unlike some Rebbes that, because I have ancestors who are Rabbanim in Krula and Chenger, and there's already at least like 5 Krula Rebbes and 1 or 2 Chenger Rebbes, so they don't need another one. But Koblenz, even though it's in Germany, it sounds nice. It sounds a little bit more Rebbish. So it sounds like it could be in Poland, in Ukraine, Koritz or Kuznets or something like that. Koblenz, it starts with a Kuf, ends with a Tzaddik. Kedusha and Tzidkis are both there. So my holy ancestor, the Chavos Yair, wrote an incredible parish on Shulchan Aruch that he never published, and was only published about 35-40 years ago. Mechon Yerushalayim published, called Mekor Chaim. And the Mekor Chaim, he explains how the kavana of even facing Yerushalayim in tefillah means Yerushalayim Shel Mala, the conceptual Yerushalayim, the heavenly Jerusalem, and not the real estate. Of course, in halacha and Olam Osiyah, we know that the halachas are that Eretz Yisrael Kadosha Mikol Aratzah Misham Avin V'Sa Oimer V'Shtei Alechem. We know the Mishnah in Kalim. I'm learning Kalim right now. But this obsession with geography, with a piece of land, is nonsense. We are a conceptual people. You cannot turn this land, any land, into Avodah Zarah, and that's what the Zionists do. And even Rabbi Kook, who the religious Zionists hold up as their leader and founder, he said that there should be less of an emphasis on the mitzvah of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, which is indeed a mitzvah according to the Ramban. Rambam doesn't list it as a mitzvah, and because of this heretical movement of the Zionists and this whole ideology that of the scare tactics. This is nothing new. It goes back to biblical times. You learn Sefer Yirmiyahu, the book of Jeremiah. You see that there were the false prophets who were saying that it's time to go back to Jerusalem when it was not the time. And when Mashiach comes, we're going to have a time of that the whole earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord like the waters cover the seas. And so yes, of course, the temple will be rebuilt in Jerusalem. But this modern day state of Israel that was founded in 1948 has absolutely nothing to do with biblical Israel. I know that there's some more controversial things I'm going to say about biblical Israel, which we could discuss. But even again, Rabbi Joseph B. Soloveitchik, another great leader of the modern Orthodox, and who the religious Zionists hold up as a leader of theirs, has said that the modern state of Israel, I heard this from the brother Ruv in Williamsburg. He heard a recording of Rabbi Soloveitchik where he said this is nit aschalte de Gula and nit aschalte das Schalte, das hat gor nit mit Mashiach. That and ich bin a patriot. He said that the state of Israel is not the first flowering of the redemption. It's not even the first flowering of the first flowering. Has nothing to do with Mashiach. There's nothing eschatological there. And his devotion to Medinas Yisrael is patriotic and not religious. So he was a religious person who happened to be a Zionist, but not really a religious Zionist in that sense. And his leadership of the Mizrahi movement was more about the ideology of the Mizrahi movement outside of Zionism, as far as being worldly and cultured and so forth, and not really about Zionism. Yes, there were other rabbis who disagreed, Rabbi Meir Kahana, a lot of others, but anyway, but there are many different views within Yiddishkeit. But Sof Kol Sof, all of these things are, first of all, Meir Kahana, Gevena Voilayid, but he wasn't, he didn't have the godless of even a Rav Soloveitchik or Rav Kook. And again, both of those are controversial and for the most part considered to be das yochid, to be individual, single opinions, and not to be accepted in general in the Heretics Oilam, as far as a lot of their issues of Zionism. And with all that being said, they were not as Zionist as their followers. Let's go a little bit further, though. So he forgets that we're just visitors in the land, and we're still in exile. Our home is Israel. Our home is not Israel. Our home is, really, first of all, our home is heaven, but our home is Eretz Yisrael, not this modern heretical Zionist state of Israel.
And generally, how I understand these questions of the afterlife, these are all metaphors because we don't really know. We assume there's going to be an afterlife simply because we believe in a just God. There's only one afterlife.
Alright, so this guy is editing my videos, and indeed it says in Tanakh, in the Bible, in Sefer Koheles, in the book of Ecclesiastes, Hakol Hoylech El Makom Echad, that everyone is going to one place. So you have even a biblical source to say what I'm saying here that could be interpreted that way. But essentially, even what I'm saying is, again, in the realm of homily and metaphor, because we don't really understand. Ayin lo yirasa l'kim z'lesecha. No eye saw what the future has to bring. And yes, we have these descriptions of Shever Meduri, Gehinnim, and so forth that we find in the Svarim Kedoshim. And they're indeed Svarim Kedoshim. They're indeed our holy literature, our sacred literature. But with that being said, anybody who takes these types of things literally is missing out on the big picture. There is an idea, I know Carl Jung spoke about this, but it's essentially a Jewish idea. There's a difference between, to use how Jung used the Greek terms, of mythos and logos. Logos is logic, and mythos is myth. Now, we have to understand that the term myth has a very negative connotation in the modern world. But it's not a negative idea. It's really something that is a deep and profound source of truth, but not in a logical sense, but in a mythological sense. And that is what people don't understand when they take a lot of these things literally, when these are metaphors to try to explain the best what we can. And so I mentioned what I had always been told was a medrash, even though I never saw the medrash inside. Although I've heard that there's a Chinese story like this as well, and it's possible that both are independent. It's also possible that both came from the same source, of heaven and hell being where people are locked up in stocks, and if you're in heaven, you're feeding the person in front of you, and if you're in hell, you're trying to feed yourself and you can't reach the fork to your mouth. And obviously, again, these are parables. These are not logic. These are mythological. These are mythos and not logos.
Going to the same place. Because essentially, the parable that sits pretty well with me is that heaven and hell are the same place.
All right. Not everyone born Jewish has a Jewish soul. This is Rav Yitzchak de Akko, a Rishon. So you want to...
Everyone who is born Jewish has a Jewish soul. And what do I believe about other religions? I respect them. Good evening, everybody.
All right. So, again, this that I said, not everyone born Jewish has a Jewish soul. Is there any of the Yud Gimel Ikrim that there even exists such a thing as a Jewish soul? It's a very complicated issue. But like I said, Rav Yitzchak of Akko was a Rishon. He was a Talmud of Ramban, and he said that not everyone born Jewish has a Jewish soul. And so there you have it. It's not Joe Kolakowski saying this. It's a Rishon saying this. Again, you want to say it's a Das Yochid. It doesn't matter as much because these are issues of Kabbalah and Hashkafa, and as long as it doesn't violate the Yud Gimel Ikrim, for sure, it's really not an issue. There's nothing in this whole Shas Bavli or Yushalmi or the Mishnah of this idea of a Jewish soul. And so it's not even heretical to reject the whole idea of a Jewish soul. And many, it would seem, in the Rishonim don't even have the idea of a Jewish soul. And also, again, we're talking about things that we cannot really understand, and so we have to talk about them in a mythological way and not in a logical way in order to really understand what is being said in the Sfarim and Kedoshim about these issues. And also, the Sfarim tell us that the soul is not necessarily something you're born with as much as something that you gain through religious devotion, through prayer. At different parts of the tefillah in our liturgy, we receive aspects of nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, chida, etc., etc. As far as respecting other religions, there's nothing heretical about respecting other religions. The many tzaddikim had respect for other religions, not only, like we said, the modern Orthodox, like you would say Rabbi Kook and Rabbi Soloveitchik, but back in the old days, the Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz, Rabbi Yaakov Enden, both of them argued with each other, and both of them were friendly with their local priests and bishops and so forth. There's a long history of this. As far as me going away for Shabbos, taking a vacation to on Shabbos to a place that happened to be playing movies, it's really it's again, I know that it says in Shulchan Aruch that you're not supposed to be really talking about secular things on Shabbos and so forth. I admit it's a chesaron, but it's not Chilul Shabbos. One of the videos that Rabbi Ruvain posted seemed to indicate that I was actually filmed a video on Shabbos, which I did not do. The video that I was referring to was filmed and posted before Shabbos, so obviously it wasn't made on Shabbos. But that's the and I was just talking. It's a vlog. I wasn't teaching Torah here. I was making a vlog, just like any other vlogger. Maybe not as talented as other vloggers, although I don't take the time to edit my videos the way that the vloggers that my kids like to watch. Admitting I'm a Russia. I think we should all admit that we're Rishoyim. Especially if you study the Tanya, you see that the Beinoni is a person who never commits Nevera, and the Tzaddik is a person who doesn't even have the Yetzer Hara. So yes, I admit that I'm a Rasha. I have the Yetzer Hara, and I commit Averas, and I try to do tshuva from them. I guess at the time that we do tshuva, we don't. You could say at that time you're Tzaddik Omar. As far as what I said there about Usher Maze's smicha being worthless, what I mean is that he already had a smicha, first of all. So why did I need to give him another smicha? It's not. And again, and what I was saying is that Mistama, he's not going to be able to get a job as a rabbi through the RCA from a smicha from Joe Kolakowski. Other jobs, so probably he could get. I know people. He's not the only one I've given any type of smicha to. So the RCA probably would not recognize my smicha, but I know some of the other rabbinical organizations do recognize them, do recognize the smicha that I've given, including Heretics rabbinical organizations. In general, those organizations don't have the job placement that the RCA has, and that's really, other than that, smicha is just a piece of paper. You had great big tzaddikim, rabbanim, gedolim who never had smicha, or who only got smicha later in life for a political reason or something like that. And then again, I don't mean Achri Mois Kadeshim Emor, and Jackie Mason, I believe, is a Ben Olam Haba. But Sof Kol Sof, he got the smicha from Rabbi Moshe, from the Gadol Ador, at a very young age, right? And he didn't live the most holy life. Publicly, it was clear. Nish behalten gornish, but his Sof Kol Sof, he was machshav Torah, and anybody who wants to sit and learn, he would in his mishpacha he would support them in sitting and learning. So he had the chashivas of Torah, and you see from a young age he was his father called him Hanavoin. He's someone who had understanding. But so the point is even a smicha from the Gadol Ador, and the guy wound up being a comedian and not a professional rabbi. So is there a chashivas to that? Maybe yes, maybe no. It's hard to say. But the smicha is not what makes a difference. It's who's behind it. It's not even who gives the smicha, as much as the person who receives the smicha. And also, smicha today is not smicha. Really, what it is we call a heter license to teach, to render halachic rulings, similar to how some of the Protestant denominations, they call their ordination a license to minister. That's essentially what it is. It's not an ordination in the sense, and it's not the smicha that the Sanhedrin gave. There were, of course, historical attempts to revive that. People are aware of the history in Tzfas and more recently in Yerushalayim. with what they call the nascent Sanhedrin and so forth. But the truth is, so why would I give smicha? And the answer is very simple. The big tzaddik, Rabbi Pinchas Koritzer, said it's a mitzvah. If someone needs a piece of paper, they're going to help them for whatever reasons. It's a mitzvah to do that, and that's why I do it, because Rabbi Pinchas Koritzer said to do it. And I have a big devotion to Rabbi Pinchas Koritzer. Where are we up to in this video? We're 3 minutes and 21 seconds in, and I'm 20 minutes in. Ich will doch teufeln sich in the mikveh. So we're going to stop this video now. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, and maybe we'll go a little bit further. But I'm not saying it was right for me to go away to Monster Bash, but it's something my family likes to do. We've been going for years. We were going when it was in the hotel, and this year it was in the place, and we keep Shabbos. We're not mechal Shabbos. We're not doing any malacha. We're not doing any muksa, deraisa, derabanan. Mehit Shabbos. So it happens to be that a few 100 feet in front there's a movie playing. Is it really any of my business? I'm being malin the tzaitzes dart in a place that nobody ever made kiddush mistama. So grace zach. Maybe that's going to bring Mashiach quicker than all the tzionim. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. We'll see you later.